Hey everyone, welcome to Five Senses. I'm your host, Robert Zinni, and yes, today is the TBD Show takeover of Five Senses. My guest is director and producer Brandon Gabaldon, and he's here to talk about filmmaking and his passion of the TBD Show. And yes, he is the man responsible for this look right now because of the show. Method acting, people. Brandon, thanks for finally being a guest on our show.
Yeah, man, it's crazy to be on this side of the camera.
All right. So if people didn't know, Brandon was the main camera person and producer of Five Senses webcast for a year and a half, and then you had to step away to do TBD, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's been a blast.
So you are a local filmmaker. You also work at PCA. You just got done doing Ghost Talk, which, by the way, great event.
Yeah, it was fun.
But you're more of a director. And so before we get into TBD, I was wondering, where did your passion come from for film and wanting to be a director?
Well, originally I wanted to make video games.
Okay.
I got kid growing up in late 90s, early 2000s. I was all about Pokemon. I got a little tattoo right here, to show my love of that. And it just got me into storytelling. I got so immersed in the worlds and I wanted to tell stories, basically, was the root of that. So I would write stuff too. And when I got older, I realized making video games takes a lot of math knowledge and programming and stuff that didn't super hold my interest. So I kind of just translated into making dumb little videos through middle school. So Jacob Barb, who is the cinematographer for the show, editor, we would walk home from school at Mile High through the creek, and we just had this little, I think it was I'm gonna say the wrong thing. It was a Canon something, and there's this little, it looked like a smartphone almost, and it's this little thing. We did zombie forest, walking through the forest, and we had a show on public access, This Is Important, eventually, and that led into high school, and it was just so fun, man, just getting together and just coming up with these really absurd ideas and putting them on film, and just watching your dumb brain vision become a reality was really fulfilling. So that's kind of it, yeah.
Okay. What were some of your early inspirations for film that really made you want to get out there and do something?
My dad raised me on a lot of parody stuff. So a lot of, Young Frankenstein, Airplane, and my grandma's house, which I would spend a lot of time at, I had it was called my office, and I just had a stack of VHSs, man. I would watch Good Burger, Flintstones, just a lot of comedy stuff. And I think that's what really pushed me towards that mindset. So all through film school, it would be people doing dramas or horrors, and I was like, anybody had a script, I'd be like, how do you make it funny? That's just, my brain would not turn off the funny switch, I guess. So yeah, just want to make fun of the world, I guess.
I think we're doing that with the TBD Show. So we've been doing the TBD Show for a year and whatnot, and I thought that's huge. We're about to film episode 9 and 10 out of 10 episodes. But you were kind of the brainchild behind the TBD Show while we were doing Five Senses during the pandemic. And so how did this idea come about? Because I've had feedback from what we do as more of a fever dream. So that kind of goes into what you were just talking about.
Yeah, it's the same concept of everything's sad and depressing. We were doing the Five Senses stuff, and I thought it was really important. We were going to local businesses, The Raven, Two Mamas, meeting all these business owners that were struggling, a lot of them, through the pandemic. And it's just everywhere you go, you turn on the news, it's something COVID this, COVID that, or if it's not, it's something else really sad. So I was just like, let's do a fun show. Let's do a fun show. People can turn their brain off, no politics. No masks. We adapted through that, and we started through the pandemic and everything, and I think it worked out. And basically, it's just a show about a show, but there is no show, as they say. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
No, I agree, and I really like working with you because I feel like you and Jacob's minds are similar, and then we've been writing a lot. And the one thing that I'm blown away with about how much crap we get away with in the city, and that a lot of the business owners who end up being sponsors have just really accepted our crazy ideas.
Yeah, and that was a big thing about moving back to Prescott. I grew up here, and I was one of the many kids. I was like, I hate it here. There's nothing to do. I go to the library and, do wilderness stuff, but it was just like, it's so small. There's nothing to do. But then I was in Phoenix for 5 years in Scottsdale, going to Scottsdale Community College, and I did some film work there, worked on Scottsdale Fashion Week, and the whole gist of all that was just like, you felt like a number, And moving back into town, it was like, I was like, what is this? Like, it's community is the word, It's just a legitimate sense of community. People care about each other. Sam Rice from the city Parks and Recs department, film commissioner, getting us permits to shoot these crazy scenes downtown. We got to scout the Prescott Forest to do a literal Ring of Fire with Sky Daddy. Like, it's just crazy how much we can do just by asking, And it's been very humbling and appreciated for these business owners and community members to open up their doors and wanting to be involved, really.
Exactly. What was one of our crazier or almost like fantasy-esque shoots that we've done?
I think really the Duncan's World on the Square, man. Like, I thought that was just such a blast. And it was a nice day. There was not that many people around. We didn't get really stopped. We never had, any issues where you had to pull out the permits. I had it ready to go. But just seeing Duncan up on the stairs of the courthouse, like facing the gazebo, like that was like the iconic moment. Because that was one of the ones where I was like, this is the big thing, I just thought that was cool. And the airport, Prescott Airport shoot for season 2, episode 1. We worked with Guidance Aviation, got Zinni up in a helicopter.
That was fun.
With our sound and video people. And that was so wild too, because that was legit. They had the safety officers, they had the airport personnel, they had all these procedures of how not to get chopped up by the blades and like X amount of time. And we had this whole terminal as the old airport. That was crazy. So those are probably like number 2, at least most recent memory. That was awesome. Yeah.
No, I agree. I, as like actor and also co-producer, just couldn't believe that we got away with having a helicopter. That was so great, especially to kick off the season where we introduced more sponsors, more cast and crew. So the production that we've created is actually growing.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great too. Just to go on about that a little more, they invited us and gave us more time than we needed, and like offered the pilots time and everything. That was crazy for them to do that, and that's been just happening everywhere we go to. People offer their places of business. They offer catering from such like El Gato Azul, Two Mamas. Just every business we've worked in, it's been so welcoming. It's never been a bad experience, which is pretty crazy because we've been in like 20 now at this point. You'd think there's some ratio, but no, 20 out of 20. Really good time. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I just want to say thank you, Dana, Murdoch, if you're listening. I think this got spun after our interview back in the pandemic about Thumb Butte Distillery. So thank you for being one of the sponsors for TBD Show.
Totally. We wouldn't do this without Dana.
Exactly. She's a pretty good old lady, if you ask me. Pretty okay.
Yeah.
So since it's a local show, what goes into actually producing one of your shows?
Well, it starts with the concept, and I think we're getting better at it, It was kind of flying by the seat of our pants. The most legit thing we've done is with, our paperwork and getting permits. It's not necessarily guerrilla, but it has been a lot of, we need to get it done. And for those of you that don't know and might remember the schedule of our shows, we would do 2 shows a month. Film a show, produce a show, and edit a show, and do a live show every 2 weeks.
Yep.
That was crazy. So I think moving forward, and what we're trying to do now with these last couple episodes is get together for the writing process, contact the actors, get a table read, work with our amazing crew. Shout out to everybody that's helped to make the show. And then contacting the business owners, figuring out what props we need. It's really a long process when you think about it, but I think between me, you, and Mr. John Duncan,
John
shout
Duncan.
out,
John Duncan.
we somehow get it done, And that's what's crazy too, is that there's cast, there's crew, there's producers, there's caterers, there's the live performers with the music, there's these business owners, but everyone helps to make the show. And not just by doing their part. We've had actors step in and move gear around. We've had crew step in to be extras, and I think that's what's really cool is the show has a wide vision and everyone steps up to make it happen instead of narrowing it down, which I think has been crazy because John or you or me could have been like, no, helicopter, no way. That's too much logistical stuff, or we're not even gonna get a helicopter, but we just make it happen. That's what's so cool about that. So, yeah.
So you mentioned the running joke that the show is a show within a show, but you'll never see the show. So could you just explain, like, maybe some of the characters that we have on the show? Like, what do they do? Like, when you watch the TBD show, what can you expect?
Yeah, well, we started out. Our pitch, I think our elevator pitch was it's SNL meets In Living Color meets Curb Your Enthusiasm meets, it was more sketch comedy was the style. And we did some sketches, and then by the third episode, what I think was the turning point of the first season, our superhero episode, when we had some kind of a narrative. And so I love your character as the host, and everyone is their own name in the show. That's the funniest thing. We don't even need credits because everyone's just themselves. But it's kind of like a parody of themselves. So you as the host, just struggling with your identity as a host and kind of always wanting to do something else. And right when you're getting into it, just, I'm not, I don't want to do that. And like just being so divisive with Dana, And Dana being in the show is crazy too, because I think she's one of the funniest characters because she's the most herself. Some of the stuff she says, we just keep in total improv. And Duncan, I think, is one of the funniest kids too. He just brings so much. He'll do anything, like drinking the coffee grounds.
That was the most disgusting thing.
Yeah.
So like at the Christmas episode, we had Duncan play or a fake orphan who then befriends orphans. And in a scene, they offer him pizza from Two Mamas Pizzeria. And then the actor Lily just poured coffee grounds
and water.
And
that's it.
Didn't really think about it.
It was like sludge.
And he's like, I'll take a drink. And we're like, you don't have to drink the coffee grounds, Duncan. That is disgusting.
Yeah.
And when he did, I feel like I gagged. I don't know if you gagged, but that was pretty disgusting.
I was too busy holding the laugh in, which you can hear it in the shot, that was some careful editing. But he just went for it. I didn't expect it. And it was just this like glob and he spit it out all over the place. Yeah, crazy. But every character, man, they're just, big shout out too to Jim Adams as the critic. We're bringing in our first big villain, which the critic episode will be going online soon. I don't know when this is going to even go online, but we're working on some stuff behind the scenes for that. But Jim stepped in to be the critic, and I feel like it's kind of our fallback card because he can just, I don't know what I can say, but crap on us, on all of our shortcomings. And it's kind of that self-aware humor of like, oh, we're not doing this right, so let's just have Jim say it. Then we're cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the show became meta without us knowing it became meta.
I was going to get so much more meta too.
So that's a good segue. So like, where is the TBD show going?
Well, these next two episodes are going to be big. No big spoilers, but we do have plans to build a spaceship. So we'll see where that goes. And the Zeebeldorps are invading. So that's going to be a big thing. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to do two shows or one super show. That's kind of something we'll learn in the process. And after that, third season is going to be really big. And just a heads up for that, cowboys, detectives, puppet acid trip. Not all at once, but that's some of the things that are going to be happening.
Yes.
So yeah,
I think those three concepts right there is kind of the TBD show in Prescott, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. So we keep talking about live segments. So obviously I'm the host of it, so I kind of know what the live is. But for people who may not know what the TBD show, what can they expect at one of our live events?
Well, I would encourage anybody that doesn't know what this is. First of all, why are you watching this? Second of all, please watch the show. It's on YouTube, Facebook, tbdshow.com. But you get so much more of an in-depth immersive experience by going to the live show. We like to bring in caterers. We've had the Tasty Trailer. We've had Two Mama's Pizza, El Gato Azul. Usually included in your ticket price. It's only $10 at the door. Thumb Butte Distillery makes amazing drinks that serve all throughout the show. And then there's the show itself, which has live segments that you wouldn't be able to watch at home. So, for instance, there'd be before the bar segment, when you need a drink, you run out on stage and open up the show and say how thirsty you are, run off, and then it cuts right into the bar segment. So it's a really like almost Muppet Show, like classic Muppet Show kind of deal, you know? Kermit comes on stage and then there's the skits, and that's, I think, the best way to enjoy the show, really. The live events are my favorite part of the month whenever we have them.
Oh, yeah, it's like a party. It really is, you know.
It's a way to celebrate everybody's hard work.
Exactly. Too. You know, and like you said, we have musicians, catering, and the show usually runs about an hour and a half, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's 6 to 9 Thumb Butte Distillery. Starting off with music, ending with some music. People usually leave when the show's over, which we bring in some really great musicians. Sky Daddy, Nick Canuel, Congo Alexander, Jet, I don't know his last name, but of King Copper fame. And that's one thing I wish people would stay a little more and hang out and enjoy the music afterwards. Other than that, you know, and obviously do whatever you want. But that's just one thing. It's the whole experience. And I want people to be there 6 to 9. Like, we want to kick people out. Yeah. Like, we want people to stay too late.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And it's always fun too. Like, for me, doing a show like this is awesome because it'll go online. But really, I've really enjoyed that community regulars that we've had on the show. And I've been very surprised, and this might surprise you, that we have sold out nearly every show that we've done at the distillery. Like, I'm still blown away to say that people come to watch our fever dream, make believe, whatever.
Yeah, so thank you to everybody that has come, and hopefully we'll continue to go, because that's been mind-blowing for sure.
Right, so you're saying that we have big plans for the TBD show. So I want to know, like, what your intention is, you know, for the show, right? Because it is a Prescottonian show.
Yeah. Well, there's a slideshow that exists somewhere that we pitched to Dana, and there's a tagline, one slide that said, "Made in Prescott, made for America." And that's kind of the idea, is that if you go to the live show, you get a little bit extra. If you watch online, you live in Prescott, you get a little bit extra. But you should watch in New York, Wisconsin, anywhere around the world, really, and be able to appreciate the show. So that's really kind of the goal. And moving forward, I think we're destined for bigger streaming platforms. Ideally, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but that's my pie in the sky dream, is to get picked up by somebody. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to leave anybody out of it, but somebody to see and believe in us, as many of the community members have and as we have, to give us a shot to get this thing like made for real, you know? And we've been really lucky to have local sponsors that have helped us make this show, but just even one big sponsor could really elevate what we want to do as well. So I think that's where we're heading. If this was just a fun project, that would be great, but ideally it's going to be something that people will be able to enjoy all over the world.
I think so. I don't think this is a normal film project due to the amount of community members that have opened their doors or helped us out a long way. Speaking of which, what are some things that people can look forward to coming up?
Well, we are tentatively going to be at Acre Night. That is going to be really fun. We're going to promote the next episode. So if everything goes according to plan, we'll be promoting episode 4 and 5 at that event, and they'll be happening very close to that event. So Acre Night at the Frame and I is where we're planning to be. We may have pizza claws there, maybe some sweet Thumb Butte whiskey, Two Mama's Pizza, I don't know. So that's going to be a really cool event. And then, of course, the end of the season, and that will happen by the end of the year. Episode 4 and 5 to really blow out the end of the season, the end of the year strong. That being said, any other updates, our Instagram, our Facebook, we do pop-up events as well. We had our last show was the 1-year anniversary show, which I thought was really fun.
It was great.
Just seeing everything all together, and it was like a 2-hour show is like a movie. So it's just mind blowing to see everything we've done. And I think the goal moving into next year, beyond writing and filming the next season, is more live shows. I really would want to get into more venues. So if you're watching this and you have a venue, you can bring a screen in and have even 30, 50, 60, however many seats to bring in an audience. I think that would be really cool to get the show seen more around town and get the word out.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And, just say some more things about Brandon. When we write it, it's one thing, but then when we see the final product through his directing or through your directing, it really shows your talents of like, here's what we wrote on a script, here's some adjustments we made in the organicness of it all. And really from start to finish, I think your vision has, done justice for the show and the characters and everything that we have evolved to.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's totally a collaborative process as well. We mentioned before, Jacob will step in and direct. We kind of have the same brain, and everyone really just brings up an idea about their character, the overall trajectory of the episode, and I'm willing to hear any idea, really. And 9 times out of 10, even 9.5 times out of 10, they're really good ideas, and they make it in the show. And our sponsors have brought up really good stuff too. So that's my favorite thing is script to final concept, and 100%, 10 times out of 10, it's better by a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brandon, thank you for coming on to the Five Senses, promoting TBD, even though we all intermingle. So yes, John Duncan, we all intermingle. Sometimes we bleed over, but we still love you. And if you didn't know, John Duncan is our third producer, and without him, the show wouldn't exist as well. But this is kind of, nebulous. So can you tell our audience where you can find this lovely, lovely TBD show for more information?
Absolutely. So I'll start with the weird one. On Instagram, we're the TBD Crew. Somebody else took the TBD Show. But on Facebook, the TBD Show, and then it's the TBD Show, just like this, .com. That's kind of where I want to direct everybody towards, because you can watch all the previous episodes on there. And there's a page for live events. You can buy tickets through there when we have live events. And we're going to be putting up a merch page too. So you can get this nice V-neck turquoise, or the classic Banana Time crew
yellow.
cut.
Yeah.
We're going to be bringing in some hoodies and other stuff. Shout out to Mad Shirts, one of our sponsors as well. So I'm excited, man.
I'm excited too.
It's going to be fun.
I don't know. The more we talk about it, and I know we're in the middle of filming it, but I really think we'll do it justice for the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see what people think about that. So anyways, Brandon, thank you.
Thank you, Zinni.
No problem. TBD takeover of Five Senses. And for Five Senses Magazine, you can, of course, find us at 5enses.mag.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.